Welcome back to the channel, everyone. The Premier League fixtures have been released for the 2025-2026 season, and those first three Premier League fixtures for Man United are fixtures that we certainly can be looking forward to, but can also be the make or the break of how a season will be for Manchester United in Amorim's, shall I say, first full season, but you could also call it his second season, considering how long he has been here for the past season. Now, of course, there is transfer news. We know that Mateus Cunha is already done and over the line, so there's not much more to be spoken about him. But Brian Mbeumo is the next player we are trying to get in. There's a bit of a twist with regards to the Gyökeres and the Osman rumors. And of course, another striker that is coming to play, Gyökeres, is also another player that we are looking to try and bring in, but there's a bit of an issue with regards to his valuation by Frankfurt. But we'll speak about that all in today's video. But let's focus on the fixtures first. So our opening fixture on Sunday the 17th of August is against Arsenal at Old Trafford. And what a fixture we have to open up the new season with. And by then, we must either have a different kind of starting 11 with, shall I say, 3 or 4 starting players that we have brought in this transfer window. But then again, we can also be a similar team to what we have been last season, but we must be much better and more ready for that game. Of course, Arsenal know exactly what their goals and targets are going to be, and that's competing for the Premier League title. That automatically comes with them finishing in the Champions League place, so that is but a secondary goal. But for us, that game could really be a bit of a motivator, because if we go into that game strongly and we win that particular game, there will be good motivation and good momentum and a positive feeling within the club, because with the way last season ended and with the way Amorim has pressure put on himself by so many things that was out of his control, but also things that was in his control and he made mistakes by, the way the new season must start is going to be so important for Manchester United. If we lose the game against Arsenal, we're already chasing the pack. We're already looking to try and claw our way back to the top, into that top 4. But with Fulham away and Burnley to come after that, you could say that maybe getting a draw at Old Trafford, for our opening day is something we can work towards and then look to, gain some momentum from that. But me, being the Man United fan that I am, it's opening day. We must go into that game with the mentality of we want to win. So those are the first 3 fixtures for the new Premier League season, and I am excited for it. It is good fixtures that we can look forward to, but knowing that that first game is against Arsenal, we must look to hit the ground running for that first game. Now, talks of Brian Mbeumo, Spurs, we know that Thomas Frank has become their new manager. And of course, there was a bit of reports coming out that Brian Mbeumo is intrigued by a move to Spurs, especially since his former manager, Thomas Frank, will be there. And of course, we know Spurs are in the Champions League. But he again reiterated that he is only wanting Manchester United. And with Manchester United knowing that, they are in discussion with Brentford for a transfer fee for Brian Mbeumo. And of course, we know that they do want a high fee, but I'm sure the deal could easily be done between 60 to 70 million pounds, and that could easily be 50 million, 55 million plus 10, or 15 in add-ons. But of course, those are the finer details with regards to these type of transfer dealings. But rest assured, I do think that Brian Mbeumo will become a Manchester United player for the new season. Now let's move on to the striker position, which is a much more important position that we need to be filling. So even though Rasmus Højlund is gaining some interest from Italy, especially from Inter Milan, it does not necessarily mean that he's going to be sold. He himself said that he has a contract, with Manchester United, and he fully expects to stay at Manchester United for the season. So if a good enough offer comes in, I'm sure that the club will look to cash in on Rasmus Højlund and maybe use that cash in order to strengthen the team in other positions. Now, it was said that Gyökeres, we made contacts with him in the previous video that I spoke about, but his agent came out and kind of messed up things for Victor Gyökeres. And he basically said that he only wants Arsenal. And then Arsenal came out with a report saying that they are not interested in Gyökeres. They only have their eyes set on Benjamin Sesko for the time being. That in itself is a failure by Gyökeres' agent. And of course, we know about the disagreement with regards to the gentleman's agreement that was broken by the director and the owner of Sporting. So Gyökeres is kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place because we are not going to be going for him fully because we still are busy with the Mbeumo deal, and of course we need to get sales, out of the door before we can look to bring more players in with the likes of Anthony, Rashford, Sancho, who now recently has been linked with Napoli, and they're looking to make a formal offer if he is willing to once again cut his wages, which is something he didn't agree with Chelsea. So let's see what happens with that particular transfer, but we need to make sales before we can bring any type of player in. Victor Osimhen, we know that there's a huge problem with trying to get any type of deal done with him. Al Hilal, even though they were rejected by him, still haven't given up on signing him. You still have Galatasaray who would like to keep him. Of course, Napoli want to get him off their books, but again, is there a club that will come in and spend the type of money on Osimhen and his representatives that needs to be in order to get him to Manchester United? I don't think so. But if we do have the money, I certainly have said it before, Osimhen must be the number one option for us to bring in as a top class striker. Now, the Hugo Ekitike news again is good news, but only will make sense if we do most likely, get rid of a Rasmus Højlund. And if we don't bring in a Osimhen, if we don't bring in a Gyökeres, the type of money that Frankfurt are asking for Hugo Ekitike is somewhere along the lines of 84 million pounds. Now, it has been said that they do want 63 million pounds, which is round about the same amount they got for Marmoush when he went to City. That does not mean that we are going to be spending that amount of money on another unproven striker. Whereas with Gyökeres and with Osimhen, they've known and shown goal scoring ability consistently in the past few seasons. So we do have to be mindful that Man United have so many issues within the team that needs to be fixed, but also within the club that needs to be fixed. So the way we are moving right now does seem like we are going in the right direction, and it will take some patience in order for us to get to where we need to be. But the steps are being taken. The right steps are being taken at this particular juncture in time for Manchester United. But we do need to get those sales going in order for us to bring more players in. There's lots to look forward to. There's quite a bit of time before Sunday, the 17th of August. So let's hope that Man United bring in more players. Let's hope that we get rid of the players that we need to get rid of. And of course, that we are ready for that first game against Arsenal at Old Trafford. But thank you for joining me. Drop a like, share it to your friends and family. Of course, let me know in the comment section what you think of the fixtures that have been released for Manchester United. And of course, who you think Manchester United will be signing next after we seal the Bryan Mbeumo deal. Have a wonderful day further. Till we see each other again soon, Red Devils. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching. If you want more content on Manchester United, like, share and subscribe.